the way they decorated, the kind of furniture they had, kind of the decorations, maybe photos of their family and what have you all over. I'm going to sense their presence and their family. I'm going to sense it. And as I look how their house is organized and all of those things, I'm going to, in a sense, know that's going to tell me something about them and their family. No question. But they're not there. So I'm not really meeting Larry and Colleen. I'm just sensing their presence and learning a little bit more about them by being in their home for that long. Now when they come back, they invite me to dinner. So we're around the table, maybe we have a few laughs, we tell stories, we share things back and forth, and so then I'm actually having an experience of them. They're there, and I get to know them better by having that time with them around the table. And the more often I do that, the more I'm going to get to know them. It's logical. When we have that direct encounter, I could go to their home and house sit for hundreds of times. I'm not going to get to know them as well as when we're around the table together. I'm going to know more about them, and they're going to know more about me. That is the way it is with God. So, God created everything and everyone. Everything and everyone. So, we can sense the presence of God in all of creation, in the beautiful sunsets, in our rich farmland that we are so blessed to have in this area. Perhaps we've been out to the mountains or by the ocean or the lakes or the rivers and stuff like that. We have these special experiences where we really sense the presence of God. And I've always said, I think a lot of hunters, they're not really after the game so much. Well, maybe they are, but they really like being outdoors because there's quiet and they sense that presence of God. But it's the created, it's not the creator. They're not, when we're having these great experiences of God's creation, we're sensing His presence, we're getting to know more about God, but it's not God. It's not God. So we've been very blessed by the fact that God knew we needed more as human beings. It just wasn't enough. And so God became a human being. And so we celebrate that in this great Christmas feast, that God became one of us. He shared our life completely. He was no different except that He was the Son of God. But He experienced everything we do. He was part of a family. There was difficulties and all of those things. He shared our life. And so people were able to see Him, touch Him, listen to Him, and be with Him. They had that direct experience of God through the person of Jesus. Now, the birth of Jesus is very connected to the death of Jesus, because that's the sign of God's great love for us, that He took on our humanity and what have you, and transformed it into the resurrection. And so now Jesus, through His death and resurrection, is no longer limited by time and space. So He remains with us through the sacraments, through the church. And we can have the most powerful experience of a direct experience of God with what we're doing right now, celebrating Mass. He speaks to us in the sacred Scripture. He gives us His very self in communion. There's no more direct experience of God than that. We're not just sensing His presence, we're not just learning more about Him, we're having a direct experience with the person of Christ, the risen Christ, because He is here. Now, obviously, we don't always sense that, we don't always feel it, but it is there. It's a given. So what we have to do is continue to ask ourselves, how can I open myself more and more to that direct experience? Because that's what we want. We have wonderful experiences with our families, with lots of other things, with our, like I said, with creation, what have you. But we've been given something here that is beyond measure. We have a direct contact, a direct experience, a direct encounter with the risen Christ. What could be better than that? Because we believe that God is pure love. He only wants what's best for us. God is about wanting what is best for us, saving us, never punishing us. It's always about saving, helping us to be the best that we can be. So the more we can get into this direct experience of Christ, the better we are going to become. And the more generous we're going to be, we're going to start being another Christ for other people. So it's not always about us, that when we leave here, then we carry that tremendous gift to our families, to the people we're with at work or school, wherever it might be. What a gift. What a gift that we just don't sense God's presence. We have an encounter with it here. And if we don't always feel like that's what's happening, just trust that it's happening. Ask God for the grace to continue to open our hearts and our minds to this great gift that He's given us. This is a tremendous Christmas gift. God is with us, no matter what's going on in our life. No matter what's going on, God is with us. Every time we come back here together, He's telling us over and over, I am with you. I love you. And if you need my mercy, it's immediately there for you. What a tremendous Christmas gift that we have.